Hello, hello, and welcome back.
Hello, it's good to see you as always.
Always great to see you too, my partner in crime. Welcome back, everybody, to Living Richly with Curo, episode number 41. We are so happy to have you here. My name is Ann McCabe, and I am the CEO and a partner here at Curo Private Wealth. And I'm joined, as always, by my lovely partner, Atricia.
Hello, I am Atricia Roberts, COO and partner here at Curo.
Yes. All right. So, if you are just tuning in to this podcast, our goal is always to inspire, educate, inform, and we typically talk about all things financial planning, financial literacy related. And today's episode is going to be the second part in a series about Social Security Mythbusters because we got tons of questions after our first Social Security's Mythbuster episode. So we are just going to follow on and continue to bust some myths for you all. But before we do that, we always love to do a quick A-team catch up, talk about things we've been getting into, how we're doing. So, Atricia, what is going on in your world?
Yeah, well, I think the most obvious thing is that I have new hairstyle.
Yay!
Hope you
Looks so
guys like it. I
good.
feel good
The long
about it.
bob. I love it. It looks so awesome.
Thank you. So I figured, maybe they say, a new cut, a new look sometimes makes you feel better. And so
Yep, me
far it
too.
feels good. Yeah, so we're starting the year with a new look. So that's new, obviously. But yeah, other than that, not much else new to report other than, just trying to churn through the things and, of course, get ready for the upcoming Kestra conference that we have that we're going to attend together, which should be exciting.
Yes, I can't wait. I always love
Yeah.
traveling with you.
Yeah.
Because even though we do these things and we have meetings every week, it's just not the same. When we get to
No.
travel together, it's always so much fun, like good quality time together, which I
Right.
always appreciate.
Right.
Yeah,
So what's
so
new in
that'll be
your
good.
world?
Well, nothing much, but I did want to share that we had an awesome session with our team on Friday. So we decided to do this was Teresa's idea, and it was a fantastic idea to do an all-day strategy session with our team. Just talk about what's working, what ideas they may have for ways that we can improve our firm, improve our client experience, processes, systems, technology. Everything was kind of on the line. So we spent the whole day together, and everybody, despite literally being in a room together from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. straight, everybody was like really
Yeah.
engaged and energetic and actually wanted to stay and have drinks together after the full day strategy session, which I was like, all right,
That's a
it's
good
good that everybody,
sign, right?
a great sign that people like spending time together. So it was awesome. It was great. Our team, we just are in such a good place with our team. Everybody's
Mhm.
gelling really well. Everybody really cares. As you closed off by saying, everybody shows up and gives 100% every day for our clients. And I'm just so eternally grateful for our firm and for the awesome team that we have.
Yeah, as well. It was a long day, a lot of topics that we went through, but I was just so grateful for just how much thoughtful feedback and consideration everybody gave during that session. It was fantastic. So
Yeah.
it feels like a success, and that it was a real good way, like launching pad for us as a team going into 2025.
Yes. Agreed. 100%. All right. Well, that brings us to our topic du jour, where we're going to talk about more Social Security. And we have to do a quick shout out to
Mhm.
Mike and Adeyemi, is I believe how you pronounce her name, who sent in some questions after our last Social Security Mythbusters episode. And they both sent in so many questions that we
Yes.
actually have we have enough questions to answer for part 2 and part 3. So stay tuned. We're going to go through 4 more myths today, and then we will have another probably 4 or so myths to go through in our next series. But Mike and Adeyemi are getting Amazon gift cards, $10 Amazon gift cards. Woohoo! Celebrate, because they took the time to send in not just one question, but in both cases, multiple questions.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And we will share at the end of the episode how you too can send in questions, and you too could potentially win an Amazon gift card. So make sure you stay tuned to the end. So Real quick, Mike sent in a couple of questions, such as tax implications of Social Security, the myth around Social Security going bankrupt. How do receiving benefits while you're working, how does that work? And are there any penalties for collecting Social Security early? We answered all of those questions in episode number 38. So if you have not tuned in to that episode, make sure you do so, because we talk about all those questions and myths and bust those in the first episode of this series, which again is number 38. So make sure to check that out.
Yeah.
But Atricia, why don't you kick us off with our first myth of this second part of our series?
Of course. So, our first myth, there's only one way to claim Social Security, and it's best to take it as soon as you can. Meh. Wrong.
Bang.
Myth busted. So, the thing to remember about Social Security is that there are several strategies to maximize your benefit. So, now one of the best ways to do that is just to delay when you claim your benefit. So, while you are able to start claiming Social Security as early as age 62, your benefits do increase by 8% each year if you wait until your full retirement age, or sometimes abbreviated as FRA. Now, depending on what year you were born, that could range from age 66 to 67, and they even count the months between. So it may be 66 and 7 months. So you want to double check. But if you choose to delay, then you are able to increase your benefit. Another way is to work longer. So, Social Security calculates your benefit based on the highest 35 years of earnings. So, the longer you wait, you can replace some of those lower earning years with higher earning ones. And if you work fewer than 35 years, the calculations will include some zero earning years, which will reduce your benefit. So, taking your Social Security as soon as you can is not the best way to maximize your benefit. You can always delay. And of course, you can even take an extra delayed credit by waiting until age 70, even past your full retirement age. You continue to receive that 8% increase to the benefit amount. Or you can work longer, especially if in your later working years you are earning a higher income.
Yeah, which typically happens.
Yes.
What we see anyway. Awesome. All right. Myth number 2. If my spouse never worked and claims a spousal benefit using my earnings record, my benefit will be reduced. False. Nope. So if you are married and your spouse never worked, let's say you're in a situation where the spouse, stays home with the kids, for example, they may be eligible for spousal benefits based on your working and earnings record, but it will not reduce your benefit. So it is a completely separate payout from Social Security that does not negatively impact or take away your benefit at all. So your spouse can receive up to 50% of your full retirement age benefit, your FRA. So that was what Atricia was talking about, either somewhere between 66 and 67, depending upon when you were born. And they will get that 50% of your benefit if they claim at their full retirement age. If they claim before their full retirement age, then the benefit will be reduced. And it is important to remember that for a spousal benefit, you must, as the worker, claim your benefit first before your spousal benefit or your spouse can claim their benefit. But it does not negatively impact your benefit. It will not reduce your benefit. It is a completely separate system structure payment.
Yep. And I mean, the intention was just for that, right? The idea of Social Security, which we shared in episode 38, was to help aging Americans not, live in poverty in older age. So the idea is that your spouse is very possible, and especially if you talk about years and years ago, lots of the female partners did not work outside of the home. So this was a way to accommodate that. So it will not reduce your benefit. All righty. So myth number 3. Survivor benefits have the same rules as spousal benefits. And would you like to make the sound effect this time? Wrong. So, if you were married for at least 9 months and your spouse dies, you may be eligible for survivor benefits as early as age 60. But here is where the collecting timing matters. So, if your deceased spouse claimed their benefits early, it could reduce the benefit you get as a surviving spouse. On the other side, if they delayed, you may receive a higher benefit. Like spousal benefits, claiming early will result in a benefit reduction. So you can claim earlier on a survivor benefit than on the spousal benefit, but in the same way, that survivor benefit may be reduced if the decedent or if the spouse that passed away collected their Social Security benefit payments before their full retirement age.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, myth number 4, and the last one we're going to cover in
Hmm.
this particular episode. There is one right answer to the $1 million question, when should I claim Social Security? Nope, that is false. False. So it really, really, really does depend on your personal circumstances. And as financial planners, you probably hear us talk a lot about the 8% increase to your benefit if you wait from age 62 to age 70. And so you may conclude that our recommendation is always for people to wait, but that is not the case. And here are some factors that you may want to consider in your personal situation to help you make the best decision possible for yourself and your family. Number one, your health and your life expectancy. If you have longevity on your side in your family history, you are healthy, and not that any of us have a crystal ball and know exactly when we are going to pass away, but if you believe there is a high likelihood that you will live a longer life, it is maybe beneficial for you to push off taking benefits so you get that higher amount if you are planning to live a longer life. On the flip side, if for whatever reason you think that your life expectancy, or you may know your life expectancy, is on the lower side, then it may make sense for you to collect benefits as soon as possible. Second, your financial situation. Some people, for lots of different reasons, need the Social Security benefit as soon as they qualify. So even if we say to them all day long, you're going to get an 8% increase on your benefit, they're like, yeah, that's cool. I need the money now. If you need the money now, then now may be the right time to collect your benefit. So that may be the decision right there. Next is your work situation. So, as we talked about in episode 38, if you are still working and you are under your full retirement age, there is a reduction in your benefits if you claim Social Security. So, if you are continuing to work and you are under full retirement age, there is a good chance that you want to delay taking Social Security and get that extra 8% increase because your benefit would be at least temporarily decreased because of your work situation. And then lastly, this is really, really important. When it's just you making the decision for yourself, that's one thing. But if you are making the decision and you have a spouse and you have to consider spousal benefits and or survivor benefits in the future, if you're coordinating with someone else, it is important for you to take into account the whole scenario. So we had a situation recently with a couple. The husband has worked for a very long time, is about to retire. The wife stayed home with the children and never worked, and so she doesn't have her own Social Security benefit amount. And typically if it was just him, we would probably encourage him to wait. Because it's both of them and she can't collect a spousal benefit until he does, we are actually recommending that he collects at his full retirement age. So it's not one size fits all. There are lots of different ways to approach this, and this is why working with a financial planner is really important, because when you're working with someone like me or Atricia, we can see your entire financial position. We know all the people that are involved, the goals that you have, and we can help you decide what is the smartest strategy possible for your particular situation.
It can be a pretty complicated case in many times to make the decision on what makes sense. Similarly, I'm working with a case with a client. Now, his situation is different, is that he was divorced a few years ago and he has some health concerns, some serious health concerns. He will reach age 65 this year, and the question comes down to, well, should I start my Social Security now? And we are running through the scenarios, but it looks like it is probably to his benefit to start taking his Social Security earlier than his full retirement age in this case. But again, there are lots of caveats to that. Health concerns. He doesn't have to worry about a spousal benefit at this point. So it just kind of all depends, which is why working with a planner can be essential to making the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of divorce, in our next series, we will talk a lot about the divorce
Hmm.
benefits because we get a lot of questions around how Social Security works with divorcees, and divorce benefits
Hmm.
as well. So, stay tuned for that upcoming episode, and we will chat more about that as well as some other questions that were sent in about Social Security. All right, so let's go to closing thoughts, Atricia.
Alrighty.
So, what do you have for us this week for closing thoughts?
Well, my closing thought is actually about our Friday strategy session, but it was really at the after session. So, as Anne mentioned, when she shared about our strategy session, a few of us stayed behind, and I chose to stay with the team to mix and mingle a little bit. And I made the comment in the group. I said, "I promise I won't hang out at the next one," because nobody wants their leader or their manager around in their mix and mingle all the time. I was like, teams need space to vent, and talk about, Ann and I, even though we're perfect. So what could they possibly have to say?
What negative things do they have to say about us?
But the wonderful thing, I think that one of our team members expressed, and they were like, no, we like hanging out with you and Ann. Like, we know you guys are our leaders, but we always feel like we have an open platform with you guys and can be honest and talk, and that you guys hear us. And I'm like, of course, you're probably just saying that to butter me up. I mean, we are at bonus season, but it felt nice again that the team felt comfortable having me around, right? And being willing to say, like, no, we enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's not something that we feel obligated to do. And I think it just really resonated with me that we are building a really good culture here at Curo, which has been priority and very important for the both of us. So just wanted to share that little message with you, but also with our listeners, especially those who are in, senior position, leadership positions, is that the culture of your firm, of your team, of your business is really important. And I think it's a nice reminder sometimes that those things matter, right? The little things matter. It's one thing when you're doing good work all the time, but it's another thing for your team to feel like they can show up and really enjoy what they do every day. And we say it all the time. I spend more time with these guys than I do with family and friends, right? We're usually here at least 4 days a week, all in the same space together. And it's really important that everybody enjoys showing up. So that was a nice thought for me to end the week on. So I felt really good about that and wanted to share it.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. I
Of
unfortunately
course.
was not able to stay back and hang out. So thank you for
Duty
passing
calls.
along the message.
Duty calls.
Yes, exactly. So, my closing thought for the day is we are in February, and I think once a month is a great time to check in and see how we're doing with our goals for the year and our words, our themes. So, as we've shared before, Atrisa's theme for the year is pace, about kind
Hmm.
of not multitasking and taking her time to do one thing at a time to completion and move on the next, because onto the next thing, because that's how she works best and most effectively. And my word for the year is essential. So making sure that I'm spending time on things that are essential. And I think I've done a pretty good job so far in the first month. And the few times that I have been working on something that was not essential, the important part is I was acutely aware and I made a conscious decision to work on said thing, even though I knew it was not essential. And in most cases, it was like a couple conversations that I chose to have that were probably not essential, but I felt like they were important and that I could make an impact and, give back. And sometimes you have to choose that. And so, even though it wasn't essential, I was very aware of that
Yeah.
fact. And I think that awareness is also a massive improvement. Whereas before, I would probably have just taken those calls and like not really thought about it. And this time around, I was like, oh, this is not this is not my word, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, setting the theme has actually raised the awareness for me as well. I've been, of course, trying to help with my pace by time blocking. So, building
Mhm.
out space where I say, in this, even if it's just 15 minutes, this 15 minutes is just for reviewing this. And anytime something else pops up, I remind myself, like, wait, no, you're not supposed to be multitasking. The other thing that has been helping is D&D on the Microsoft Teams. So putting myself on do not disturb when I'm focused in on something, because that way, those things don't pop up and grab my attention and I'm like a squirrel. I'm like, oh, what is it? Let's go run after that. So yeah, I think the awareness of setting the theme has been really helpful. Even when I slip and I'm not, maintaining the steady pace, it's definitely top of mind.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me, so I'm reading a book called Essentialism, as I told you, that I've had on my
Hmm.
bookshelf for years and just never read until this year. But one of the lines that I read over the weekend was, "If you don't set your priorities, someone else will."
Mm,
And with putting
geez.
D&D on your teams, or time blocking, or choosing those things that you're going to do, you are choosing your priorities. And if you don't, somebody else will. They will.
Absolutely.
So it's up to us to set those priorities. And then the other thing, as we're looking at our goals, one of the things I've shared before that I think is an awesome thing to do is start, stop, continue. And I think at
Hmm.
the end of every month, just looking at, what worked well over the last month, what do we want to keep doing, what did not work well, what do we need to stop doing, and what do we want to maybe start doing, I think is just a good, like, quick way to check in and see
Hmm.
how we're doing. So I love that start, stop, continue as well.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Oh, and then I have a little bit of an update, is that I finished Atomic Habits.
Yay!
Yeah, your tip, which I think we talked about on the podcast
Yeah, we
before.
did. We
Yeah,
did.
about listening to the audiobook while I was getting dressed in the morning. It's been a game changer. I mean, I feel like I
Game
blew through the book. I
changer.
was like, wait, is it over? So now I need a new book recommended. So I'm like, oh, what do I read next? But I think that I'm going to interchange them. I'm going to do one sort of, what do you call it? Personal skill building book. And then I want to do one fun book.
Yeah.
So when I was a reading fanatic, I'm a huge James Patterson fan. So I think my next audiobook will be a James Patterson selection, and then I'll go back to find something that's more developmental.
Yeah. I love
But
that.
yeah, thanks for that tip. It's worked
You're so
incredibly
welcome.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is a game changer, because
Mhm.
we have that time that we're, getting ready.
Mhm. Yep.
May as well be productive. So I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. All right, y'all. Well, that wraps us for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give us the 5 stars, the rating. Let us know what you liked, what you learned. Share this episode with a friend. And please send in those questions. We promised that we would share the
Mhm.
email address at the end, which is podcast@curoprivatewealth.com. If you send in a question and we answer it on an episode, we will send you a $10 Amazon gift card as a thank you. And please be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so that you are alerted. We drop new episodes every Friday for you all. So thank you again for taking the time to spend with us. And until next time,
Live richly.